We are both marriage and relationship coaches. We help people in matters relationship, be it preparing for marriage, be it repairing the marriage, and also just as an individual working on yourself, because one of the other relationships is about how well you relate with yourself. So we are all about relationships because we believe that life is all about relationships. The rest are just details.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we've been married for 27 years. We have two adult young men, 24 and 21, and then we have a daughter who is just turned 16. And more than that, also we are authors. We written, this is our first book, Marriage, Thistles and Flowers, which is Faith. This is just a compilation of all the relationship questions we've answered on the People Daily, where we are columnists. Every Monday we answer questions on matters, relationships and marriage. The second book is just been launched this month. It's on navigating conflict. It's a workbook for couples with a his and hers journal as they go through the workbook together. And it's very, very interesting because we realize that many couples are struggling in the area of just resolving and navigating the area of conflicts. Yes.
Great. Grace.
Yes, I think he has said a lot about us, and we will get to know more as we continue. But we are glad to be on this show. Thank you very much.
All right. It was important to hear your voice as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. You've been married for 27 years. Me on my end, all I can say is wow. I think that's very, how can I say, motivating and admirable. So let's begin, even as we talk about marriage, let's begin by your experience. How has the journey been? What can you say about marriage? We'll start with you, Fanny.
Okay. Marriage is interesting. It's a very interesting journey. Sometimes you wish you knew some things before you got married. But as much as we do premarital and try to prepare people for marriage, there are some things that you only encounter on the other side. So it's a very interesting journey. Of course, it begins with a high, and then you go into the reality. It sets in, and then there are many challenges that come along alongside your relationship. You get to discover a lot about yourself. You get to discover a lot about the person you got married to. You get to learn a lot about just how poor a communicator you are and how you need to improve on your communication. You get to learn a lot about each other and just difficult things and how to manage and how to navigate through the difficulties that come about. But all in all, I can say it's a matter of commitment, because what happens when the good feelings go? Yes.
Okay.
I can add to that. Our experience, we got married not too early, in our late 20s, but I can tell you that it has made us grow. Personally, it has made me, marriage has made me grow. I didn't know that I was this girl until when I got married. I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to heaven and everything is so good. Until I got married, and then I realized, oh my goodness, I am not that girl that I thought I was. I can actually be mean. I can actually be selfish. I have some horns growing somewhere. And I'm this strong personality. It just brought so much out of me. And I looked and I thought, am I the same person? But the good thing about marriage is that as you grow, you get to love the person that you're growing into. Because anything that is not fed dies. So for me, I can say that in marriage, I have the experiences that I have gone through that have made me grow into a better person, not a bitter person.
Wow.
So you choose, do you want to be bitter or do you want to be better? And I chose to be better. So I have grown into a woman who is better than I was when I was a single girl.
Well, that is very beautifully said. There's something you mentioned about, for you guys, you got married in your late 20s.
Yes.
And it, of course, has brought me to the question of age, because when it comes to that, a lot of people say judge those who get married young. Say, are you sure this is what you want? Advice is all over about wait till you're in your 30s. This way you are sure about who you want to settle down with. Let's talk about this age when it comes to marriage. Is that really something that matters, or when you find someone and you're happy, do get married?
I would say that it matters in this sense. Faith, if you look at our parents, they got married in maybe early 20s. Late teens to early 20s, because of how life was. You know, you finish school and got a job. They could easily get jobs, and once you settled, the next thing was to get married. Come to our time, we had to go to campus, and so until you finished campus and gotten a job, and you're for a guy, and you feel that you're stable enough and you're lonely, then you think of I want to get married. Come to this generation now, we are seeing more and more people getting married in their 30s, and that's simply because of just how life has been. I think initially, like when we got married, we didn't have much. We just had each other. And the gifts that came during the wedding. But today I'm seeing people wanting to, first I want to get a house, get a mortgage, buy a car, do my master's. And so that has pushed the marriage date a little bit further. And it's okay, because sometimes when you get married and you haven't done certain things that are important to you, they will affect your marriage. Because trying to go for your master's and you have a little one, you know, there are all those challenges. But all in all, again, age is just, they say, is but a number. Because some people mature earlier, others, I know guys who are almost 40, they're not mature. But the guys, I've met young people who are in their 20s and very, very mature. So again, it depends on the level of maturity. And we always say this, marriage is for the mature. It's not for, you don't try this when if you're under 18.
Don't try this at home. Don't try this at home. It's true, because recently we met somebody, we were taking them through premarital, because that's one of the things that we do, and we are strong in premarital counseling. And they were about 28 years, and we were so amazed at the maturity of this couple, this courting couple. The things that they were doing, the things that they were thinking about. It's not just about the degrees, but how else can we put things together? And you can just tell, even the way they talk, the way they do things together, it was just a maturity. And for me, I would say agree with Barnabas, that it's about maturity. It's not really about the age. You can get a 50-year-old, still lives with the daddy and mommy, and still wants his clothes to be washed. And you're telling me that's going to be a good husband?
No.
Iko shida
Kutakuwa na matatizo.
Yes.
The thistles now.
Yes.
The thistles,
yes, the thistles
really come alive.
Wow, we'll get to that, how to navigate that, because we've also written a book about that. But let's talk about, you know, what's the purpose of marriage? Because here we're saying, if you're not mature, don't try it. The journey will be a bit difficult than it is already. So let's talk about, you know, the purpose of marriage. What can you say is?
The purpose of marriage is companionship. And this I get again from the Bible, because that's where we read about marriage. And you see in Genesis, it says that, I think it's chapter 2 and verse 18, it says that, and God saw that it was not good for the man to be alone. And if you're a man, you'll know their time comes, and it came to me. You know, a time came when I had a job, I'd been earning, I'm living by myself. Kufikiria sai kukula ugali na mala tu. You want somebody, you want to do life with somebody. And that's when you start thinking about marriage. And for ladies, I think the same thing. So it's for companionship. And so the answer to that loneliness, and for the man to be alone, then God made him a helper suitable for him. So the number one purpose of marriage is for companionship. If you're not married for something else, then you're married for the wrong reasons. It has to be for companionship. So that means that then you marry a friend. You marry somebody that you want to do life together with, because that's what marriage is all about. And so if you're not friends, then no. Because sometimes, you know, people are just think I can marry because we are lovers or we have had sex. No. There has to be a friendship. There has to be a relationship that has been developed to a place of friendship.
Yeah.
And so we are ready to now do life together. So the main purpose is for companionship. It's not good for man to be alone.
To be alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But apart from companionship, it's also for procreation.
Yeah.
Because when you get married, you want children. I mean, most couples do want children. So it is for procreation. So that's why we, again, going back to the Bible, we want to keep, when we talk about sex, we want to keep it within the context of marriage.
Yes.
Because you want to procreate. You want to have children. And we know that when you have sex, you can have children.
Yes.
It's not by osmosis. Yeah.
It doesn't happen by accident.
No.
There's something you mentioned that I liked about, you know, when you're getting married, then you hadn't settled what we define as settled nowadays.
Yes.
You didn't probably have enough money to say, oh, this can last us. You got married and did life together.
Yes.
And now you're here.
Yeah.
But of course, in today's world, there are a lot of boxes you need to tick.
Yes.
You just mentioned that mortgage,
Yeah.
car,
Yes.
to have a business set aside.
Yes.
How much money do I have in my bank account?
Yeah.
Let's talk really about what things should you look into. Then you tell yourself, okay, I think I'm ready for marriage. You know, yes, I think it's time for me to have a companion, and I think I'm ready. I believe I'm ready. What are some of those now boxes from you who are counselors that you think we should tick other than materialistic things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that first and foremost is, are you mature enough? Are you responsible enough? For a man, I will ask, do you have some income? Because to start with, you need to take care of that person. Remember, the woman is just coming to help you, but you must be able to take care of her and later on of children that you're going to get. So are you responsible enough in the sense that you can manage your finances well? You have an income that can take care of somebody else? Are you mature enough emotionally?
That's true.
Because that's a very, very important. Some people are very, very immature. They don't know how to handle their emotions. They don't know how to handle hunger. When they get annoyed, the things they do. Yeah, see, that's why we're finding out people killing each other, because they just, anger management is a big thing. So are you mature enough emotionally, intellectually? You know, are you able to think and reason out? Are you good? Are you good at making decisions? I think Grace talked about, if somebody's still staying with the parents, how responsible are they? You know, a lot of things are being done for you. Have you lived on your own? Have you learned how to pay your bills? Have you learned how to fend for yourself and for others? Take care of others. Again, selfishness comes in there. Are you so self-centered, or are you able to take care of somebody else? So those are some of the things we look at. Are you able to engage in very deep conversations with one another? So those are some of the things that we need to look at in terms of how mature somebody is. But I think the biggest is really, how are you able to handle your emotions? And how are you able to take care of somebody else? Or do you just want to be taken care of?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I would add relational skills. You know, when we go to school, we are not taught about relational skills. How do you relate with others? Remember, when you're getting married, and especially in the African culture, it's not just about you. It's not just about the two of you. You have in-laws.
Yeah.
So are you ready to handle in-laws? Because that's a major one. You know, are you ready to relate with your in-laws, or is it just the two of us and no more? And this is our club?
Yeah.
No, because it does not happen. I mean, let's talk real. We are Africans, so there are people who will come and live with you. There are people who will come and threaten you. There are people who will not like you.
Yeah.
And if you're always crying because people don't like you or you feel rejected, then you don't move or you don't grow as a person. So how then the question would be, how would I know? Because I don't have in-laws. How do you relate with people in the office? Start from there.
Okay.
Are you this person who comes to the office and you don't want to talk to people? You're just so moody. And you think, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to, don't disturb me. And you want to get married. yes, when you wake up, there are those who are they're active at night. There are those who are active in the morning. But organize yourself. Say organize yourself so that, and your emotions, so that you're able to relate with people, because you will be sleeping with this person on the same bed. So there is no way you can wake up in the morning and you just ignore them and take off and go to work. And then at around 11 o'clock, when you feel that now your time clock has yes, now it is the time. That's when you call them. It doesn't go like that. So there are relational skills. How do you relate with your sisters and brothers in your own family? These are things that we are not taught, but yet they really do play out or pan out in the marriage. So for me, that's a key. Just check yourself first. He's talked about emotional. Are you emotionally mature? Intellectually, do you how do you relate with people when it comes to intellect, the intellect? How do you answer questions? How do you engage when it comes to things that maybe you like, politics and what? Or are you just somebody who sits at the corner? Because life is happening. If you're an introvert, it's okay. But then you still need to come out a bit, because you may most likely you will get married to an extrovert. So how do you relate? Socially, we are talking about friends. Do you have friends, or are you just a loner? Spiritually, are you able to if you're a man, are you able to lead that family? As the priest of the home, and say, this is my family and I want to lead them. So there are certain things that you look at. It's not just about age. Of course, age matters, because you cannot be 16 and you're telling, my daughter can't tell me tomorrow now I want to get married, I want a wedding. I tell her, no, you're still young. Because there are certain things that have not grown, and you've not become, there are certain things that have not matured yet. So you take time. So age does matter. But again, hey, if you're about 50 or 60 and you've never been married, somebody would ask, why? Why are you taking this? What has made you take this long? Okay, maybe responsibilities, which is a good thing, because you will be a responsible husband. But apart from that, are there other things that have caused you to wait for this long?
Okay. Oh, wow. There's so many pointers from what you've put forth. But let's begin with looking at a spiritual maturity for the man, because this is something that has been said a lot. Of course, the man is the head of the family. There's the question of spiritually being more mature than the wife. Let's talk about that.
It's an interesting conversation, because there's some things that you can obviously measure, but when it comes to spirituality, sometimes it's very difficult, because for a long time we've thought that what we see in the outward is a measure of somebody's spirituality, which may not necessarily be so. But what I've seen is, no matter where each is at, when people get married, the lady always looks up to the man. So as a man, you must at least know something. You must be able to lead. You must be able to provide direction. I think that's part of the spiritual thing. You must have a vision. Where do you want this family to go? You must have direction, leading these people to where you want them to be. But also being able to I had something very interesting that I did, that you see, as man, the man is supposed to speak a blessing. He's supposed to be, we talk about the priest, but he's not a prophet. He's supposed to speak to his wife and to the children. He brings out the best out of them by what he speaks. So that's again part of the spiritual guidance.
To that.
Yes, that's part of the spiritual guidance that he gives. Where are we going to church? I mean, the man should take lead in that. A couple of years ago, there was I think there was some TV, what do you call it, investigative journalism that exposed one of the rogue pastors in the city. And when you look at the church, majority of the people there were ladies. So you're wondering, so where are the husbands? Yes. By the time your wife is going somewhere, I mean, look at cults and some of this. The majority of people, they are ladies. Married ones especially. So where are the husbands? So because we have not taken our rightful place. Okay. I think the greatest sin for us men is the sin of passivity. And it's so evident in spiritual matters. When the serpent came to deceive Eve, it says in Genesis 3, I think verse 6, that and the woman took of the fruit and ate it and gave it to their husband who was there with her, which means Adam was there. God had commanded Adam not to eat of that fruit. Eve was not even there when the commandment was being given. But here she is, after taking that, the man doesn't do anything. So we keep saying this with grace. What if Adam said, hey, stop? You see, so sometimes the men have to step in there. That's our role. We have to offer spiritual leadership and guidance to our families. Otherwise, our wives will get caught up with all of these many things that are happening.
Yes, get caught up, but remember, where there is a vacuum, the woman will jump in. So when the man is not leading, I mean, growing up, who took us to church? It's our mothers. Who taught us how to pray? Who taught us how to sing? Who taught us, all those little things? It was our mom. You see, it was our mothers. It's because there was a vacuum. So the man needs to step in and come and take authority. Watch out, Tawale. Let him take authority and be the man. Because when he does not do that, then the woman finds the need to come in, because somebody must do the job. The children cannot just grow up in the wild and they don't know anything. So the woman will want to take them to church. The woman will want to teach them how to pray. The woman will want to do all those things, but yet there is a priest in the home. I love it. I love it. I love it when I see my husband lay hands on me and pray over me. Oh my goodness. That day, if I walk out of the house, nobody can tell me anything because I know I am going in, with a cover. There's such, I walk with such confidence because I know my husband he's played his priestly role. That was a tongue twister for me. He's played that role in praying for me and just releasing me to go out there and be the best that I can be. The Word of God says that with your words as a man, and this verse just blesses me so much, with your words you evoke her beauty. Can you imagine? With your words as a man, you evoke her beauty. That means you bring out the things that are not yet. You bring them out to life. So just speaking. So it can be in the area of the spiritual side, but just even the day-to-day words. What are you saying about your wife? Are you just saying you cannot do this? You're this kind of woman. Look at her. Or are you evoking her beauty? You're speaking words that are positive over her. That will just make her blossom and be all that God has wanted her to be.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yes.
And you've given a secret to the men.
Oh, yes.
Lay hands on your wife, speak beautiful words.
Yes.
There's a question of in-laws as well when you're speaking of, how to relate with others. And social media has become interesting because now we have questions asked and people do talk and share their problems online. And when we look at marriage, a lot of people have shared about in-laws and how there's always a conflict between them. Let's talk about how to navigate this, because then of course it's important to have a good relationship, but we also agree that people can be difficult, then how to ensure that you're maintaining your well-being and protecting your marriage, but also trying to have a good relationship with your in-laws.
Yeah, thank you, Faith. I think that's very, very important. And part of the question you asked earlier about when are you ready? And part of the readiness for a man especially is, are you ready to relinquish the place of priority where your parents or maybe even siblings take in your life? Do you realize that now you are entering into another relationship and connecting to somebody else who is now going to be a priority in your life? And so often many people don't, especially men, a lot of in-law problems stem from the men's side. again, in the African setup, you ladies know that when you get married, yes, but us men are there with our people.
Yeah.
And so often the woman is married into the family. And so they feel that they can take or control or do certain things. But it's important for you as a man to be able to mark those boundaries and to say you can only come this far. So a lot of times the problem of the in-laws is as a result of how much we have allowed them into our space. If you allow them earlier on into your life, it becomes very difficult for you to put them off. And so often, you see, what we don't realize, because I'm a parent now, and I told you we are parents of young adults.
Yeah.
We still want, we forget to grow with our children.
Yes.
So we still want to parent them the way as if they're children. So we want to kind of like control them and tell them what to do. And that's what happens with many parents, the now mother and father-in-law, because they now want to still control as much as the son allows, tell him what to do and how he should run his house, forgetting that this man is now an adult who needs to run his own home, in his own house. I say this in the African context, in most African cultures, when the man became of a certain age, he went out to build his own home. That was a recognition that he's now also another mzee. Now he will sit with the other wazees at the gate, because he's now at another level. But so the failure to live, that's what the Bible says, for this reason a man, it's only for the reason of marriage, that a man should leave his father and mother. Why? Because he's cleaving to his wife. So failure to live is what brings a lot of in-law problems. If there's a proper living, there can never be a problem. They are wonderful people if you just keep them at bay.
Can I jump into something that he has said? He's talked about the living and cleaving. It's very easy for you to live and to live. That's in the environment, you know, where you are. But you've not left psychologically. So that means that I have moved out of my father's home and I have built outside, and this is supposed to show that I have left. But maybe psychologically I haven't left. The umbilical cord is still very connected to my parents or to my mother. So it is important for you not just to leave the homestead, but to psychologically live so that you can cleave to your wife. You know, and that does not mean that you're abandoning your people and letting them go. And no, they're still part of you, but we are looking at responsibilities are being transferred, powers are being transferred. You're now not obligated to do certain things that you are when you are still in that homestead or before you got married. So I just needed to add on to that, so that, because there are people who haven't left their homes, but they psychologically they have left. You know, they have decided this is the person that I want to share my life with, and I will cling to her, and I will not cling to her, but I will cleave. And I will walk with her. I am now the priest of that. This is now my home. So as parents, we also need to learn to let go, because we hold on a lot, and especially for us mothers. Oh my goodness. The other day we were having a discussion with somebody, and they're saying, why is it that a 35 or 40-year-old would still be at home and, you know, somebody's cooking for them and washing their clothes? And I'm telling you, sometimes it's very difficult, because this same person, this same young man is the one who comes and tells you, Mommy, do you want a cup of tea? And you're feeling, he has ministered to me. Mommy, do you want this? Do you want to go somewhere? I'll drop you. Oh, no, don't pick that up. You know, so we get used to that. And we walk in deception that this is still a child. But like what Barnabas is saying, we need to let them go. When they are a certain age, we need to tell them, my friend, it's time to start your life on your own. And you need to now be the leader in your home. So it's time to move out. We'll give you all the support, but I think it would be better for us to start winning you out, so that you're able to start life on your own and be responsible. Cook those chapos, you know, in your house.
In your own house.
Maybe just to also add here, because I know I talked a lot about the man, but also the ladies.
Good.
the in-law problem is this way. Is what in psychology they call Oedipus Complex. The man and his mother. It's a very, very special relationship. And the lady with the father. It's, now, especially if your father was very powerful, is rich. So as a lady, you still allow him, to be providing for you, to be doing certain things for you that are rubbing your husband the wrong way. And so many men I've talked to begin to resent their wives because they still look up. Their father is still their hero. Men want to be heroes in your life. So if your dad is still that hero and you're always trying to compare him with your dad, who is much older, much more mature, has acquired that wealth over years. Just like when we got married with Grace, one of the things that was a big struggle was, there's that tradition on Boga, and she could not make it like my mother. Like, it is how come it's not like my mom's? But she was also a young bride, My mother had taken years to perfect that art. And so we need to give each other that space. And so for ladies, yes, your attachment with your dad can also be a problem, an in-law problem in the marriage.
Oh, we did have those in-law problems. And for me, I was daddy's girl. And daddy did everything from, I just needed to have a certain face. And daddy's like, what's wrong, my dear? What can I do for you? You know you're named after my mother. I love to see my mother smile. So that's how I went into marriage. Thinking that when I just put that face and Barnabas will be, oh, my queen, what is it? Reality.
Okay, here's a question that for a while have people scratching their heads. When a man is driving, who should sit on the front seat, the wife or the mother?
Now it's as if you had a conversation we had the other day when this lady, and I could tell she's still upset. They had gone to the village. And then the mother is now the one arranging who is sitting where. And he tells the wife, you had to wait there. Let this one be escorted first. And the lady was so upset. So upset. Now we have to be very careful. Sometimes wisdom needs to be applied. If we're in the village, there are certain things that, as men, sometimes we find ourselves caught in between because sometimes we think we are protecting our wives from being labeled a rebel by now agreeing to do what our mothers are saying. But yes, sometimes, like when I heard from this lady, we make them feel very second-class citizen. So back to your question, the person that should sit next to you is your wife. Yeah, that seat is your wife's seat. Yes. And you can politely tell your mother that. Is politely telling her.
But on the other hand, if your wife chooses to ask your mother, her mother-in-law to sit there, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because we also want to honor our parents. Now, if my mother has a problem with her knee, and I'm asking her to just be squeezed at the back with my children or my nieces and nephews. So I want to also honor her. That's how respect also comes, But if she's now coming and she's the one who is commanding you people and demanding that this is my son's car and I have to sit here, wait, sit at the back and be quiet, by the way, while you're there, then there's a problem. So the woman can choose. Because you sit there every day. What will it take to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days for her to sit there anyway?
Or even the man can ask. Can ask the wife.
The wife, yes.
Can we please allow mom? You see, now that way again, you've honored her as much as you are also honoring your mother.
But not in front of mother.
Not in front, maybe.
She says no, and those looks that we give the husband.
You can pull her aside.
It is so obvious.
Let's take a very short break. We'll be right back. Do not go too far because this conversation will continue in a few.
The chastity of marriage is under attack. The biblical marital vows, until death shall separate us, has seemingly changed until your money lasts, until your beauty lasts. Unfaithfulness in marriage is on the increase. Mipango ya kando, violence in marriage is on the increase, many times leading to separation, divorce, and sometimes unfortunate loss of life. and also the devastating impact on our children. However, God's mind on marriage has not changed, my brothers and sisters and my friends watching. The Bible says, the Lord says, I hate divorce and the putting asunder of one's vows. Malachi chapter 2 verses 15. Surely, when the foundations are destroyed, what will the righteous do?
Esteemed CAC TV viewers, praise be to God. The PCEA Kibiko CAC session invites you to a special Thanksgiving Sunday service this Sunday, the 2nd of October 2022 at PCEA Kibiko Church, Ngong, Nairobi. The service will be graced by Minister Reverend James Muhia from Buruburu Parish, assisted by host Minister Reverend Mary Maribie. The theme of the service, What Shall I Render?, will be expounded by guest minister Reverend Jackson Kimemia. Join us live on CAC TV from 10 a.m. together as we worship and give thanks to the Lord. All right, welcome back and thank you so much for keeping it right here. This is Transforming Families. Today we are talking about marriage, and with me is Barnabas and Grace Achoki, who are bringing life to this conversation. First part has been awesome. Right now we want to talk about conflict, because of course we see a lot of that.
Yeah.
Sadly, some of them spill to the social media platform, and we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah.
But let's start by talking about conflict resolution. How
Yes.
to go about all that in a way that doesn't damage your relationship, in this case marriage, at the end of it all.
I think what is important, Faith, is first and foremost to have guidelines. You know, just like any sport, there are rules. Even the elections we had, there are rules.
Yeah.
So we have to agree as a couple what you're going to do and not to do when there's a conflict.
Okay.
The reason I'm saying this is because so often we don't realize this, we react and resolve conflict the way we saw our parents or the families we grew in resolving conflict.
Yeah.
We shout at each other, we say things that, you know, throw the words everywhere, sometimes walk out, bang doors, throw things. Now those are things that those are things that make the conflict grow worse. So we need to, as a couple, you need to agree on what do we need to do so that things don't go beyond. So come up with a set rule. You know, we will not call each other names. We will not say certain things. We will not throw things at each other. We will not fight. You know. So let's walk away. Yes. So have those rules in place. We keep telling couples this. I know, you know, when an argument starts getting heated up, one of you should be more mature to see, hey, where this conversation is headed, and you can tell this conversation where it's going or headed to.
Yeah.
It's going to be very hurtful. So maybe I think it's in basketball and volleyball where they do this, the timeout. Yeah. So just give a sign. Don't say yes, no. Just give a sign and agree beforehand, because now when with Grace and I see when that happens, I know, okay, to Lisa Boli. Yeah, let's cool down.
Yeah.
I know as Christians we say that the Bible says we should not go to bed with our anger, but sometimes we can. I read a quote the other day. Somebody said that we agreed that with my wife and we have not talked since Thursday. So no. Just agree. You see, we have agreed. We have agreed that, you know, I can see there's a lot of emotion in this thing. Can we pick it up tomorrow or some other time, so that we don't have to finish the argument? Because proceeding this way, we may end up saying things that are very hurtful, and we've done that. Sometimes I've ended up saying things that were very hurtful to Grace, or she said things that were very hurtful to me, and those hurtful things you remember for long. Yeah. So we want to be able to, when the emotions are rising, I keep saying this, when there's more heat than light, what you're looking for is the light. So when there's more heat than light, hey, let's call for a timeout, and then let's go back to our corners and wait for an appropriate time. Just by waiting, just by relaxing, your emotions go down. You know, the hormones also settle down in your body. Now you can come back in a better way. But again, when you've pulled out, when you've gone to your corner, don't go and start rehearsing what has been done and reloading your gun for the next fight. No, the next one will be worse than the first one. when you go to your corner, just take some time. You know, both of you want the best for this relationship.
Yeah.
So always remember, it is us against what is coming before us. It's not me against Grace or Grace versus me. It's us against whatever it is that is coming against us. So go back and, you know, look down within yourself and say, okay, why is it that this thing is upsetting me? And sometimes you may realize it's even beyond your spouse. Maybe I'm stressed at work. Maybe our pays are delayed. Maybe I've been told from at my place of work that I'm going to be let out. They are letting go some stuff, and that's what is bothering me. And so because of that frustration or fear, I'm now venting on my wife. So for her, maybe it's the children who have upset her, and so she's now deflating that anger towards me. So I say, go back and look inward, not at your spouse but at yourself, because the only person you have control of is yourself. So think through why is it that I'm getting upset, so that when the time I'm coming back a bit sober. I'm coming back realizing, I realized, you know, when you said this, it stirred this in me, or it reminded me. You know, sometimes Grace will say something that reminded me of my mother, where she was, the things she was, which I didn't like, and so that's why I reacted.
Yeah.
Or somebody else. So I just need to be very careful about that, and when I come back now, I'm coming back from that place of I'm also taking responsibility for my reaction and for my actions. Faith, it takes two to tango in every conflict.
Yeah.
Nobody's at fault 100%. I may have contributed 10%. She did 90%. I still need to take care of my 10%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Maybe to jump onto that also. Let's learn how to attack the problem and not attack each other. We are told, when we say this a lot, that when we are courting, we attract each other, but when people get married, they attack each other. So let's attack the problem and not each other, because we have to look at, we are on the same team. So how do you fight your team member? You need to see, what is the problem? What is the root problem? Why am I getting upset? Like what Barnabas is mentioning, are there triggers from my past? Are there things that I'm still going through that are affecting us or affecting me? And every time Barnabas raises this thing, then it's a trigger, and I just spew up, and I'm there and I'm throwing tantrums. You know, adults also throw tantrums, just like 2-year-olds. We throw tantrums, and you're swinging on the chandeliers, and why? What for? Because there is a trigger. So then I need to go back and say, this is a trigger in my life, and talk to him about it, because he's the one who is going to help me. We are hurt in relationships, but we are also healed in relationships. So I go back to him and tell him, hey, this thing is bothering me, but I think it's coming from somewhere. So sometimes when I throw a tantrum, it's because it reminds me of where I've come from, but I want to overcome. Is there a willingness to overcome that? And you may not overcome fully, but how do you manage it? How do you manage your anger?
Yeah.
Because yes, you get angry. We are human beings. But how do you manage your anger? What are those things that I'm going to do? So it means that we have to sit down and have quality and quantity conversations. This is about me, this is about you, and this is about us. So there are three faces. So there are things about me, there are things about him, but there are things about us. There are things that are about me that they really have nothing to do with him, and vice versa. So then we handle those things. Then we look for the right time. I don't start handling those things when he comes from work or when I come from work. I have just walked in and he's telling me. So timing and environment is very important. So that we are not saying, we call it spitting. We are not spitting. We are not saying some things and the other person is not. They're not. What they do is they run away. So we want to have quality time and quantity, so that you're able to discuss what are these things that are causing us to be in conflict. What are these things that are making us instead of coming together, we are running away from each other. So those and I hope that one of these days we'll come back and just take you through and just talk about how to have safe conversations, so that I'm not threatened with these conversations, but I'm ready to have these conversations, and I'm allowing us to forgive each other, because forgiveness is a must. We need to forgive each other. There's no way you can be living with this person and you don't forgive them, and we're just sweeping things under that carpet. You will trip over that carpet one day. So it's good to deal with issues as they come. We are not saying in the year 2003 in the year 1995 you did this.
In fact, the greatest problem with conflict resolution is unresolved conflict, which has been carried. In fact, it becomes now worse, and I know we'll be talking later about even separation and divorce. It's as a result of a lot of unresolved issues over a period of time. Somebody helped me a long time ago by telling me that conflict is like meat. The longer it stays, the more it rots and stinks.
And stinks.
Yes.
Wow. And it affects many. Because when there is a stench, it's not just you, but it's everybody's affected. The whole house. We are opening windows. Because there is a stench. So unresolved conflict.
Wow. I like that you've invited yourself back again, first of all, because I was too, since we're running out of time. There's so many things you haven't touched on. So yes, you're welcome back again.
Thank you.
We'll be glad to have you, because wisdom. But something else, even as you're talking about conflict resolution, because of time now, I'll have to ask about how to keep the fire burning. You guys have been married for 27 years. You're still here looking at each other. Hey, and I'm like, okay. And we have people who've been married for 3 years and they no longer see their partner as beautiful, attracted to them. And you're wondering, hey, the journey imekwama, what's happening? So let's talk about that.
You have to be intentional. You have to be very, very intentional. So I tell men this, just like your car, you know how many kilometers when you need service. So constantly asking yourself, when the last time we did this? We have that exercise we give couples and say, when is the last time, you laughed until just the two of you spent some time together and laughed until your side ached. When is the last time you played games together? One of the things that Grace and I have made very clear is that we will have fun. Let's have fun, because marriage is a serious thing and it includes a lot, involves a lot, but we're going to make it fun. So we laugh about some things. We endeavored to just ease up, spend some time together, plan times away together, just the two of you. That just helps to reconnect, come away, just the two of you, and reconnect, have some rituals that and that's very, very important, by the way. Just rituals. How do you part when you go to separate ways? How do you reconnect? Those are very important rituals. What are some of the things? How do you call each other? Now I learned this from an older man. He said, an African setup, when they call somebody Mama Nani, already the relationship is, and he said something. They said, you can't make love to your mother, When the moment you've said Mama Nani, already. But when you continue calling each other with those endearing words, even in conflict, even during conflict, one of the things I've told myself is I will always call her by that name. Why? It reminds me of who she is to me. But when I start calling her something else, then I start disconnecting. So just, what are you doing to keep fun? How it has to be intentional. It's not automatic. We say this before we got married. We were dating and we did crazy things, but it was because of the hormones. When you are just fast in love. But after you get married, it's like the manual car. You need to engage. So it's constantly, otherwise it won't move. You have to engage the gear. So here we have to be more intentional. We have to be deliberate. We have to be creative. Creativity is key, because she's evolving, I'm evolving. The things that worked then don't work now. So I have to constantly update, just like a phone and IT people know every time there are new programs, new apps that come, so we need to keep upgrading. So we need to just keep in terms and keep evolving together.
Creativity. I want to touch on that, especially as women. When we get married, we feel, nimefika. I finally have arrived. I can put my suitcase down and just be. Yes, it's true. I mean, nobody is refusing you to be who you need to be. But then you also have to be involved, because we're again going back to the purpose of marriage. Why are we getting married? I'm not getting married so that Barnabas can give give me children. That's not my priority. I'm getting married because I'm marrying a friend and I want to do life with him. So then I have to also play my part of being creative and not just say, this is just our home. You know, I want him, when he walks into our home, he feels, wow, I have come to a rest haven.
Yeah.
I feel good at home. So it's, as a woman, there are many things that I need to do to make him feel that he got married, you know. So just those little things. And sometimes I'll go and ask him, what do you want to do? What do you want to eat? But there are times when I will hear what he's saying. Saying, if only I could, I take note. So just taking those mental notes and just saying, this is what I want to do. Yeah. Surprises. We still surprise each other, you know. So just surprise your spouse, so that spouse is not just like anybody else. You know, the way sometimes a man will walk into the home and say, Barizenyu. You know, it is a lump sum. So all of you, you know, you're all my children. You know, surely there must be something special about your wife or your husband. You know, when I'm giving people fruits, you know, I'm not just giving everybody. I put everybody's on their plate, and you know, even him is also there. You see, there is something special. Okay, even if I'm dividing it, but at least I'm taking it to him and I'm making him feel special. So again, honoring each other.
Okay.
When we go through conflict, how do we navigate conflict? It's by honoring each other. You see, he's my love, so I want to honor him. I want to respect him. I just don't carelessly speak, you know, before people, you know, in the crowd, in public and in private. I want to honor him. I want him to know that you're the person that God has given to me.
Yeah.
And I honor you as my husband. I honor you as my wife. You know, the things that I say, you know, I'll not just be there and everybody, you know, there are things that are there. People are talking about their husbands or their wives or what, and I'm also really contributing, and he's there, and I hurt his feelings. You see, I want to feel that there is a protection of our relationship, so that I'm not just throwing and hanging my dirty linen out there for not that we cannot talk about some of the things we go through, and we are real. We talk about our experiences, we talk about what we've gone through, but then if I know there's something that I'm going to say that is going to embarrass him, and I know that he's told me he doesn't like it, and I go there and putting it on WhatsApp groups as a prayer item, you see, it's dishonoring him. So I want to put him there, you know, and make him feel that, hey, yes, you are my king, because then he will make me feel like a queen.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about WhatsApp, and it has made me, you know, get to the point of social media. We see a lot of that. Of course, when couples get married, those who would like to keep it public, they do. And when troubles are there, they put it public as well. Let's talk about this culture, because a lot of speakers, or rather, can I say, marriage counselors as well have spoken about this, saying keep your relationship off social media, keep your problem off social media. Just touch a bit on this.
Yeah, keep it, two things, keep your relationship off social media, and as much as possible, keep it away from your family.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because they have those moments. Now, if you go, imagine you splash everything in public on social media, then you come to Barnabas and Grace, they help you, you're now back together. What are you going to do about those things? You can't pull them back. You see, so be careful. And then why are you putting them there? Is it to shame the other person? Because you can only be going somewhere where you want to get help.
Yeah.
And that too, you don't use your name. You know, we get many questions in newspaper, but people don't use their real names. Just we keep that confidentiality, because it's somebody genuinely looking for help. So what is your motive for throwing things on social media? So try as much as possible not to, because you're now, like she's saying earlier, you're dishonoring and shaming your spouse. Remember, you will get back together. What are you going to do about that? So try and solve your things in private, and if possible, see a counselor.
See a counselor, bottom line.
And you know, when you talk about in-laws and, you know, just pouring out your things or spilling out your things in public, remember there's a certain picture that is formed in their minds about your spouse or the other person. And when you get together, when you get back together, that picture has not been torn. It is still there. You will not convince them that this person or this man or this woman is not like that.
Yeah.
Because you said it with your own
Yeah.
mouth.
Yeah.
You confessed it.
Yeah.
And they saw it. So try and protect each other as much as you can. Of course, if it's in a case of violence, then you cannot keep it away.
Yes.
But you don't have to still splash it on social media. You know, tell those that you think will help you. You know, your family and maybe one or two friends, those people that you know will help you. And even as you're telling your family, you're not telling everybody. You're not calling a baraza to just tell them how he pinched you and how he was biting your neck. No. It's your, because remember he said, it takes two to tango.
Yes.
So what's your 20% in this? What's his 80%? Yes, there is violence. So we want to resolve this. You know, we want to see how do we work this out. So I'm telling my parents so that they can help. I'm not telling them so that they can hate him. If their children involved, imagine, maybe, I know the time is going to be, we can't talk about divorce now, but if their children are involved, so you can imagine, you've already talked about him, you've talked about how he's such a bad man, and then you're telling him, when are you taking the children? Which weekend are you coming? But he's a bad man. You've already told the whole world he's a bad man. So you're actually giving your children to this bad man. So let's be careful about the things that we say. We can be cordial. Yes, people make mistakes. Maybe it was a one-time thing, people have made mistakes, or maybe it's a perpetual thing, but maybe that person, he or she has a problem. So can you be part of the problem solving in that whatever you're saying about them and you're doing, because you are also maybe part of that problem as you take responsibility for your 2%.
Well, for people who are already in a situation where the fire is not burning, they are only having ash left, how can they revive the fire?
I see you.
They need to come to people like us, say a relationship counselor, coach, to just help them, because they always still, I like what you said, the ashes. I don't know if you know, I sometimes used to go to the village, and my grandmother had this thing where you police her and there'll be a flame that comes out. So what can we, again, prayer helps, because God also, we have to involve God in all that. Maybe it's the wind that blows, but then we have to bring the wood and bring the combustible material so that you can start lighting. So there are situations where we have been able to help people that way. But there has to be a willingness. I think the first step normally is are you willing to work at this? If you're not willing, then we are wasting our time. Truth be said, there are just some that you realize, wow, it's a tall order. And unless something happens, it's going to be a marriage that is more draining being in than out. Wow.
I think he said it well. In fact, I liked it how you agreed. You have to be willing. Unfortunately, there are a lot of things we haven't touched on. Time is not our side. But I like the fact that we can still have you again here next time. So as we conclude, I'd like you to talk to two categories of people. From my end, of course, you can talk to as well as any other person that comes in your mind. People who are looking forward to getting married. And people who are in marriages already. What would you tell them? What would be our advice to them? For those who are looking to get married, take your time. Please go through vigorous premarital counseling, where you can be able to ask yourself those tough questions and have those tough conversations, so that you're sure of what you're doing. I always say this: marriage is still a risk, but make a calculated risk. Enter knowing certain things for sure. For those who are married, please keep working on your marriage. The premarital that you did 15, 20 years ago is not enough. Go for marriage seminars. Are you reading a book on marriage? Are you going for camps and retreats for couples, so that you can continuously invest in your relationship?
I would say for both. Those who are not married, marry a friend. Develop that friendship. Don't just rush into marriage. There is a lot to do in marriage. So it's not for the weak, and it's not for children. So as you want to walk into marriage, two things that you have, there's things that you have to look at. Am I spiritually healed already or mature? Am I emotionally healed? Because we get into marriage with wounds. We all come with baggages into marriage. So what are you bringing into that marriage? What is in your suitcase? Are there things that are going to destroy your marriage? Are there things that are going to wound your husband? And yet they're your things, so be spiritually healed. Financially, are you stable? Do you have something that you're doing? We are not saying that you're earning the US dollars and all that, but do you have something that you can say, even as a woman? Don't just go in and just say the man is going to take care of me and send me fare. No. Do you have that little thing that you're doing? And then socially, are you able to live with people, your in-laws? Are you ready for that? And then, of course, intellectually, the person that wants to get married or wants to marry you even as a woman, are you able to connect intellectually? Or does he talk about some things and you're like, and I don't know? Or do you say, yes, I also have another point? So be ready in that way. If you're married, develop your relationship. Develop that friendship, because you married a friend. If that person is not your friend, see how you can become friends. Because friends love each other and care for each other and are concerned about each other.
All right. Where can people get you if they'd like to come for counseling services or purchase a book?
Yes, we are on Facebook, Barnabas Achoki, Grace Achoki on Facebook. We also have our Facebook page with Two Ship Solutions. And yes, we can also email baniachoki@gmail.com.
Right.
baniachokig@gmail.com.
Got it.
Okay. Final question now before we wrap it up. Yes. Is marriage worth it? You've been in it for 27 years.
Yes, it is worth it. It is worth it. I don't know how I'll have survived alone. So
God.
it is worth it, but it takes work.
It takes work.
Yes.
It takes a lot. It's not just little work. It's not microwave. No, it is firewood. So it takes a lot of work. But it is good.
Yeah, but it's rewarding.
It's rewarding. Yes. It is good.
All right. Thank you for coming today.
Karibu.
Looking forward to having you again.
Thank you.
But as of now, we wrap it up here. To you, dear viewer, who's been with us from the beginning, it's a very big thank you to you. So do send in your comments and feedback, because we promise to bring them back again on our WhatsApp number, that is 0111220044, and we'll look at them and ask the questions when we have them here again. But as of now, goodbye. My name is Faith Kaulu. This is Transforming Families. Keep safe.